Usually when we crack open a fantasy novel about a magical school, there's this, I don't know, almost suffocating reverence to it.
Oh, absolutely. It's like stepping into a cathedral.
Right. You've got the grand halls, the ancient prophecies, and like the solemn, wide-eyed protagonist who's just destined to save the world, right?
With a remarkably clean moral compass, yeah. It's incredibly comforting.
Yeah.
We have this built-in expectation that the institution itself is fundamentally good and noble, and the chosen hero is fundamentally pure.
Exactly.
It's a very orderly, predictable kind of escapism, where the rules of the universe always work exactly as promised.
But what happens when you take that pristine chosen one trope and just completely run it over with a dilapidated wagon?
Driven by a cynical, corset-wearing con artist.
Yes. Suddenly, the stained glass is shattered, the prophecies are totally fake, and you are looking at an entirely different kind of story.
It's so refreshing.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into an early manuscript of a brand new novel. It's called Estrilda Blackthorne and the Royal Institute of Thaumaturgical Sciences by Alice Schmidt of Middlewich.
Such a great title.
It is. And our mission today is to extract the underlying philosophy of this book, because it makes this shocking, brilliant argument. Sometimes, to fix a broken system, you literally need to hire a complete fraud.
That's the crux of it, yeah.
So if you are exhausted by stuffy, traditional Magic Academy tropes, we are going to make the absolute best case for why this subversive masterpiece needs to jump to the very top of your reading list.
It truly is a masterclass in redefining a genre. I mean, we follow this protagonist named Estrilda Blackthorne.
Right.
She is a woman who proudly runs a fake divination stall, wears fishnets and silver-tipped boots, and relies entirely on her ability to, cold read people.
Rather than actually reading the stars.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if she doesn't actually have magic, how do we even meet this character? Like, is she out there searching for a magical destiny?
Oh, not at all. The author introduces her in the middle of this deeply petty scam in a town called Marcross.
A scam.
Yes, she's reading the fortune of this weak-jawed aristocratic boy who, and the text puts this so brilliantly, smells faintly of money, horse, and panic.
Oh my gosh, I love that description.
It's perfect, and she's using this fake crystal ball that's actually hooked up to a hidden mechanical bellows system under her table.
Wait, a bellows system?
Yeah. She presses a pedal with her boot, and it lets out this mournful wheeze like an accordion reconsidering its life, which she passes off as mystical energy.
That is such a great visual. She is basically running a theme park attraction for gullible rich kids.
Precisely. She's selling this kid these vague, flattering insights about his brother and some girl, charging him a premium for, quote, destiny and discretion.
Amazing.
But the mechanism of her scam falls apart almost instantly. The boy's angry older brother bursts in, slaps an eviction notice on her stall, and the town council officially kicks her out for miscellaneous witchcraft.
Which Estrella probably thinks is just like excellent poetry for persecution.
She definitely does.
So she's effectively exiled. How does she get from being a disgraced fake fortune teller to stepping foot inside a prestigious magical academy? Assume she doesn't just, ask for directions.
No, it happens through this inciting incident of pure, unadulterated physical comedy.
Okay.
She's rolling down a cracked dirt road out of town when her wagon hits a pothole with what the author describes as absolute intimate malice.
Oh, that's a bit malice.
Right. The axle snaps, the wagon completely flips over, and she is left to quote the manuscript directly, upside down, covered in glitter, and silently judged by a horse.
That is the exact moment of maximum indignity you want for a protagonist.
It really is. And that is precisely when she meets the exhausted, handsome Sir Calder.
Of course.
He's a knight who essentially points this glitter-covered disaster toward the towering, crooked spires of the Royal Institute of Thaumaturgical Sciences.
So she just goes there.
She grabs her satchel, marches right up to the headmaster's office, and relies on the only real skill she has. She bluffs.
Just to be clear on the mechanics of this, though, she literally walks into Headmaster Roth's office carrying some medically upsetting chartreuse liquid she calls elixir of supreme mental acuity, and just lies her way into a faculty position.
Without a single second of hesitation, Roth asks where she studied, and she just invents the most absurd fake alma mater on the spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she calls it the prestigious Arcane University of Greater Duskwood at Riverbend by Starlight.
That is a mouthful.
And she claims she graduated summa cum laude in improvised applications of practical thaumaturgy.
Of course she did.
And because the school is desperately understaffed and kind of hemorrhaging authority, Rolf actually hires her to teach practical glamours and hex work.
Wait a minute, though. I need to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Because it's undeniably funny in a fantasy novel. But if we think about the reality of this, isn't she actively endangering these kids? Like, this is a magical school. If you throw a grifter who throws away the safety syllabus into a room full of volatile, magical teenagers, things could literally explode. Is the author actually suggesting that a charismatic hazard is a good influence?
That is exactly the tension the book wants you to grapple with, and the answer the narrative provides is genuinely fascinating.
Okay, how so?
What's fascinating here is how the author uses Estrella's fraudulence to expose a much deeper, more dangerous rot within the school itself.
Right.
Yes, Estrella fakes her magic, but her fake magic relies on an intense study of human behavior. She has to understand people's insecurities, their desires, and their fears just to survive.
Oh, I see.
That requires a profound level of authenticity and observation.
So you're saying her fake magic is actually more grounded in reality than the school's real magic?
Precisely. If we contrast her survival instincts with the academy, which is obsessed with rigid rules, compliance, and, appearing proper at all costs, we start to see that the institution is the real fraud.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the book grounds Estrella's chaotic philosophy in a very dark, very real trauma.
Wait, are you talking about that flashback sequence with the truth tonic?
Yes, exactly. So when Estrella was 19, working in this smoky carnival tent, she was reading fortunes for a married nobleman.
Oh.
Yeah. The man's furious wife bursts through the tent flap with 2 hired blades and a glowing blue bottle of actual truth tonic, and they forced Estrella to drink it.
Wow. And the mechanism of that tonic means she can't use her primary defense mechanism anymore, right? Like, she literally can't lie.
Exactly. The tonic strips away her armor. She starts involuntarily spilling every fake vision, every staged omen, every scam she's ever run.
Oh my gosh, that's a nightmare for a con artist.
It is. To escape, she has to violently flip the table, steal the nobleman's purse, and flee barefoot into the dark. She spent days running with blistered feet.
That's incredibly dark compared to the glitter and jokes.
It is. The psychological lesson she learned that night was brutal recognition is rarely flattery, and sometimes surviving beautifully is the only victory available to you.
So survival in a hostile world requires beautiful lives.
Exactly.
And if we take that philosophy of survival and apply it to a classroom, it completely dismantles the traditional dynamic.
Oh, totally.
Because if a school's built entirely on compliance, what actually happens when you inject a teacher whose entire worldview is based on improvisation and breaking the rules?
It creates a massive culture clash. I mean, Estrella walks into her first classroom 3B1 minute late, wearing fishnet sleeves stitched with silver runes.
Naturally.
And she is immediately confronted by a student named Lyra Connell.
Lyra. She's that incredibly tightly wound kid in the front row, right?
Why?
The one who has her wand perfectly polished.
Lyra immediately points out that today's lesson is supposed to be on page 36 of the official syllabus.
And Estrella's response?
She essentially looks at her and says that if she wanted to spend her youth being protected by page numbers, she should have joined a convent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she physically throws the syllabus away and tells the class, if you must cause trouble, do it beautifully.
It is so reminiscent of that one rogue substitute teacher we've all had, you know?
Oh, definitely.
The one who walks in, looks at the rigid lesson plan, tosses it in the trash, and completely derails the class. But instead of just wasting time, Estrella is doing it deliberately.
Yes.
And the way Ella Schmidt writes these students,
Yeah.
it is phenomenal. They aren't just tropes, they're psychological profiles of how kids try to survive broken systems.
That is the core of the character work right there. Take Lyra, for example. She's the ultimate rule follower.
Right.
But she hasn't built her personality out of competence because she loves learning. She does it because she subconsciously believes flawless compliance is the only way to avoid being punished or discarded by the adults in power.
That's so sad, actually. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have Tamron.
Oh, Tamron.
He is the absolute chaos gremlin of the group. During Estrella's improvised glamour duel, he tries to turn his rival's hair electric fuchsia, the spell deflects, and he ends up hitting himself.
Yes. He spends the rest of the scene with a glittering fuchsia mustache that literally sheds sparkles every time he swears.
Which, knowing Tamron, is incredibly frequent.
Very frequent.
Right.
And the rival he was aiming at is Corin Bell,
Oh, Corinne.
Corinne is the anxious underdog. He's the boy who spends the entire book apologizing for his own existence, taking the blame for events that aren't even his fault.
Yeah.
So when he gets hit with that stray glamour and Sprout's luminous blue mutton chops, he is terrified because he possesses seemingly zero magical aptitude. He's constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop.
You really just want to reach into the pages and give Corinne a hug.
You really do.
And this entirely dysfunctional dynamic comes to a head during the author's brilliant subversion of the classic magical sports trope. We have to talk about the broomball match.
It is a phenomenal scene. Estrella shows up to supervise this deeply serious traditional athletic event, right?
Right.
But she's dressed in a black cape with silver bat trim and wearing stilettos that are wholly incompatible with grass.
She completely ignores the rules of the sport. She tells the students, style is not a substitute for accuracy. It is, however, an excellent distraction from incompetence.
Such a great line.
And the match just descends into the most beautiful, violent aesthetics.
A student glamours her broom with sparkling dragon wings and flies straight into a goalpost because she can't see.
And Corinne, who is just clutching the ball to his chest, actively trying not to die in a rogue gust of wind, he accidentally scores a goal by crashing shoulder first into the marker post.
That's pure chaos.
And Estrella is absolutely delighted by this. She awards Tamarin a stolen bouquet of flowers for aggressive mediocrity performed with flair.
I love that phrase.
And she hands Corinne an abandoned dusty trophy she found under the bench. The moment he catches it, the trophy emits this demonic harmonica noise and explodes into a massive cloud of silver glitter.
Let's look at the mechanism of what Estrella is actually doing here, though.
Okay, yeah.
On the surface, it's a hilarious comedy of errors, but psychologically, she's creating a release valve for these kids.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. If you're a student operating under the crushing weight of institutional perfectionism, being openly rewarded for aggressive mediocrity is incredibly liberating. It gives them permission to fail safely.
That is such a profound way to look at it. She's teaching them that their messy, unfiltered selves are actually acceptable, which is exactly why you fall in love with these misfit kids.
Exactly.
But once that silver glitter settles, the narrative really pulls the rug out from under you, because all those jokes and exploding trophies are actually a brilliant misdirection.
They really are, because as Estrella is busy breaking down the students' emotional walls, she accidentally trips over a very real, very dark conspiracy hiding right behind the administrative bureaucracy of the academy.
So how do they actually uncover this? Like, do they stumble upon some forbidden prophecy in the library?
No, the mechanism for uncovering the rot is one of the best magical objects in recent fantasy fiction.
Oh!
It is Professor Talon's abandoned self-rating journal.
A talking diary. I mean, I feel like we've seen sentient books before. What makes this one so special?
It's the sheer arrogance of it. The journal refers to itself as a living transcription archive. It's autodidactic, capable of complex analysis, and it openly roasts everyone in the room. When Estrella first finds it in Talon's old desk, the ink scratches across the page just to complain about being left in a drawer for 2 months.
I love the moment she says to it, "You are a talking diary." And the book just immediately writes back, "A common strategy among the underqualified."
Yeah.
It constantly talks back to her. But beneath all that snark, what does it actually reveal? Because the rumor was that Talon, the previous professor, was transmogrified into a newt by Corin Bell's wild magic, right?
Right. But the journal confirms that the newt story is a complete fabrication.
Okay.
Because the journal acts as a meticulous ledger, it recorded something far more mundane and far more dangerous. It reveals that Corin, the boy who failed every baseline entrance exam and seemingly has no magic, was only admitted to the academy because of a massive secret financial donation from his disgraced parents. Talon noticed this irregularity in the financial ledgers, and right after he noticed, Talon disappeared.
You know, if you've ever been part of a corporate environment or followed modern university admission scandals, you instantly recognize this dynamic.
Oh, absolutely.
The institution cares way more about the endowment money and the PR optics than the actual well-being of the students.
It is institutional corruption at its finest. And here's where it gets really interesting. The stakes escalate dramatically right after they read this.
What happens?
Estrella, Lyra, and Tamarin are in Estrella's room looking at the journal when Lyra notices a shadow moving deep inside Estrella's crystal ball.
Oh, no way. Someone's been spying on them through the orb,
Yes, they've been listening to every word of this investigation, and the crystal just fractures right down the middle from the magical pressure.
which completely forces their hand. Estrella decides on the spot that they are forming an unauthorized coven and they are breaking into the restricted archives at midnight to find the physical proof.
And the author masterfully shifts the tone right here. We go from a charming comedy with fuchsia mustaches straight into a high-stakes heist.
And what they find in those archives completely redefines the conflict. They sneak in, peer through a crack in the heavy oak doors, and they catch Dean Maven Cullis,
And she's not alone. Professor Talon is there in the room with her.
the guy who was supposedly a newt.
Exactly. He is very much human, very much alive, and he is frantically shoveling student records into a blazing fire in the hearth.
So Cullis is literally sacrificing the psychological well-being of a child, letting Corin believe he cursed a teacher and forging historical records just to secure the Bell family's funding.
Yes.
She is burying the truth to preserve the Academy's elite, flawless status.
And she justifies it as protecting the institution. But Sir Calder, the knight who has been loyal to the school, bursts into the room with his sword drawn.
Okay.
He finally realizes Cullis had lied to him this whole time. And he points out the ultimate hypocrisy. She isn't protecting the institution at all. She's protecting her own power.
The tension in this archive scene is unbelievable. You have a midnight confrontation, a roaring fire, wands drawn. Cullis is standing there wrapped in this incredibly deep, expensive glamour that makes her look young, powerful, and predatory.
It's so intense.
It's about to explode into genuine violence, and then the sassy journal decides to intervene.
It is such a brilliant, absurd escalation. Instead of a traditional magic duel, the journal flings itself open on the table and starts weaponizing Talon's own pathetic, emotional diary entries.
The pages literally tear themselves free from the binding and fly around the room in glowing circles, reading themselves aloud to everyone.
Yes.
It broadcasts. Entry 88. I attempted a poem and rhymed power with shower. I destroyed the draft out of mercy. And then it reads, I suspect she never loved me. I also suspect she stole my favorite gloves.
Which is an incredible detail because Cullis is actively standing there wearing Estrella's stolen lace gloves.
And Cullis just snaps. Her grand, villainous monologue is completely derailed by this man's pathetic documented feelings. Out of sheer, unadulterated annoyance, she raises her wand and actually does blast Talon into a neat.
It's literal poetic justice. Talon spent the entire book rumored to be a newt to cover up Cullis's financial crimes, and now, because of this terrible poetry, he actually is one.
That's amazing.
But this comedic moment instantly gives way to the real emotional climax. Cullis turns her wand on Estrella and fires this malicious pink gold glamour curse.
Oh no.
It's a terrifying spell designed to scramble Estrella's face and permanently destroy her identity.
So does Estrella finally have to drop the act and use real magic to save herself?
No, she doesn't have any real magic. It's the kids who step up.
Oh wow.
Lyra and Tamarin, the rule follower, and the Chaos Gremlin, who have been bickering all semester, instinctively move as a unit. They cast a perfectly aligned, mirrored shield to absorb the curse.
That's so good.
And true to her character, Lyra is literally reciting the textbook safety rules. Page 46, defensive posture as they cast it. They save their teacher. Even Calder turns his sword directly on Cullis.
And the visual of Cullis's defeat is stunning, because as Headmaster Roth finally arrives with the rest of the faculty to corner her, Cullis's authority crumbles. And as her power wanes, her incredibly expensive, youth-preserving glamour spell begins to crack and fail.
It blisters off her face like old varnish. The false youth shivers, the skin pulls tight, and the wrinkles literally tear through the illusion.
And Estrella looks at her, fully exposed, and calls her the cosmetic equivalent of curdled wine and persistent denial.
The best insult.
It's the most satisfying takedown. But, you know, as thrilling as that confrontation is, the real victory of the climax isn't watching a corrupt administrator get arrested.
No, the true emotional core happens in the ashes of the archive room afterward, when the adrenaline finally fades.
It's Corin. He is standing there in the wreckage, holding Talon's singed, warped wand. He has spent his entire life internalizing the idea that he doesn't belong.
Yeah.
He believes he has absolutely no magic and that he's just a failure whose parents bought his way into a world he isn't meant for. He gives the wand a discouraged little flick, basically just to prove to himself that he's useless.
And a violet spark pops off the tip.
Yes.
The wand connects. And suddenly, Lyra's severe, perfectly braided hair turns bright, merciless cherry red.
She immediately threatens to turn him into seasonal crockery if he doesn't fix it before morning. But that doesn't even matter, because the point is, he has magic.
He actually has
He
it.
did it by accident, but this spark is real.
If we look at the causality of that moment, it is incredibly telling. Why does his magic manifest right then?
You know, it makes me think of an engine that's been completely flooded with too much fuel.
Okay, I like that.
The academy was pumping these kids full of so much anxiety, so much pressure to be perfect, that Corin's mental engine was totally flooded. The spark plugs couldn't fire.
Right.
But the moment Estrella dismantled the authority figure terrifying him and removed all the rigid expectations, the pressure dropped. The engine could finally turn over.
That is exactly the mechanism at play. The institution was actively suppressing the very magic it claimed to cultivate because it demanded that magic look a certain controllable way.
Which is exactly why you, the listener, need to pick up this book immediately. It is an absolute masterclass in blending laugh-out-loud, snarky dialogue with deeply earned character growth.
Absolutely.
You come to this manuscript for the jokes, the exploding glitter, and the con artist protagonist, but you stay because it makes an incredibly compelling argument about how we treat people who don't fit the mold.
And the closing image of the book summarizes that beautiful trouble perfectly. The next morning, the Great Hall of the Academy has been turned into an absolute riot of accidental collaborative magic.
There are feathers floating everywhere, stilettos stuck in the ceiling.
It's glory.
Tamrin's standard robes have somehow turned into sequin battle armor with decorative shoulder spikes, and he is sporting a lilac pompadour.
It is pure, unregulated chaos, but Estrella is just standing at the edge of the room completely unbothered, sipping from her silver flask.
As she does.
Right. She's watching these kids finally learn by improvising. They're supporting each other, making massive mistakes without any fear of punishment. And she realizes, almost against her own cynical nature, that she actually cares about this place and these students.
I want you to think about the rigid systems in your own life right now. Whether that's the stifling bureaucracy at your corporate job, the unforgiving structure at your school, or just the heavy expectations society puts on you to behave in a certain predictable way.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, could those systems use a bit of Estrella's glitter and chaos to break them open? Could they use a little beautiful trouble to expose the rock?
It leaves us with a profound mechanism to mull over. The book makes it clear that true magic only appeared in Corin after the intense pressure of expectations was removed, and the corrupt authority hovering over him was completely dismantled.
Right.
It begs the question, how much of our own potential is being completely suppressed right now simply because we're forcing ourselves to fit into a system that was never designed for us to succeed in the first place?